Alright, Nerf Lawbringer Mod Guide Go. We're going to end up chopping off a bunch of this, adding a new spring, redoing the seal, and hopefully we'll have something pretty fun by the time it's all said and over. So this reminds me a lot of modding before I had a Dremel. So pre-Dremel I would use a hacksaw for major shell removal, and since I don't currently have access to a Dremel in my buddy's workshop, we are doing it live. But normally I would pin this to some sort of wooden frame to work on, but it's very soft ABS. So after completing two very marginal hacksaw cuts, we get to test and find out if this is in fact where we want. We want it to break here, curve around this kind of, I guess, riveted system in the plastic, and then try and maintain some sort of structural continuity through it. But since I can't get the hacksaws to, or the cuts that I've made rather, to meet, we're going to just find out what we've got. So there we go. That's actually not bad. Reasonably consistent. Minimal, like, shredding on the sides. I think this will be pretty clean by the time it's said and done. So now we have to actually open up the blaster so that we can do work on it, and then we'll trim up some of our sides. But I think that the predominant mods that we'll be doing are an improvement to the seal and then a replacement with an Orange ModWorks spring, which I think the Hammershot spring should be compatible with the Lawbringer. I can see no reason why it would not be. Alright, so after doing all of the carving and incidentally all of the logo removing before taking apart the blaster, that was a weird out of order sequence for me, I am now able to crack it and take a look at the internals. So I'll go ahead and isolate these. Where's the right size screwdriver so that we can really take a good look at them. It looks to be held in by just these two screws. Two Phillips head screws, very similar to the ones on the main body. And then, yes, no, yeah, there we have it. So other than this, which is of course the retention here, well, it goes the other way. For those of you putting this back together, this goes in like this and then teases into the turret so that you have actual actuation. But this looks almost identical to Hammershot internals, and I can tell you just looking at it that the Hammershot spring, while it might be a tight fit, should be compatible, and that is awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the spring, get to work on the plunger itself, and then I think that now that I've taken the actual time to like mess with this, it's worth painting. And so I will knock out these dart posts and get to work on painting the shell. I might isolate the clear bits because they're just cool. But that's where we're at right now, and I think that this is going to shape up very, very nicely. EOC even has an air blaster, so I might get away with not having to wash this. I can just blow off all of the dust from my sanding of the logos. That's super sweet. Shout out to Vinyl Dye doing its thing even when it's cold and wet outside. So these are our painted pieces for the Lawbringer after it's been minimized, and I think that this is going to turn out pretty okay. So came in and added some Teflon tape and of course white lithium to this plunger system. This is of course the 2x Orange ModWorks spring. We're going to tuck it into there. You can see that this is of course getting much more power even with the air restrictor. I choose to leave the air restrictors in my Hammershot style blasters because I hate it when people pull it out of the loaner bin and they start dry firing, and then I personally enjoy dry firing my revolvers a great deal. So once we installed the clear plastic onto here with the black vinyl dye paint job, I think it's starting to look pretty hot. And I can't wait to install this, get it all put back together with its cylinder, which is of course unpainted. I want to leave plenty of neon orange on this since it will be going to SE and Sea Wars, which are hosted in a public park. I think that that'll be good, and then I will lock it down and show you kind of what it's looked like when it's done. I still haven't decided on the final detailing for this blaster, but now that the internals are finished modding, and I will come over to the workstation and mention that I did go ahead and drill out all of the dart posts so that it can now fire any kind of dart, including streamlines. That's just important for loaner blasters and especially blasters that you plan to take to HVZ events. So I think that it's ready to go back together. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. So this is my finished Lawbringer. I haven't thought up a name for it yet, but now that it's been singled, it spins much nicer. I like that a lot. It's tricky because it's wider, but you get used to it. You just have to warp your palm out mid-spin, and it gets much easier. But I have signed it on this side. I decided to do a simple dry brushing job because I really like the sci-fi kind of feel that gives. Let me hop over into this patch of sunlight just so you guys can get a really good look at that. So the silver dry brushing on the black vinyl die looks good. I did end up puttying over some of my gaps, and then once you dry brush over the putty, it kind of accentuates not the fingerprints but the natural lines in that, and really sort of helps blend it into the shell, and I like that a lot. So what else is there to talk about? The blaster is of course performing very smoothly, being fully re-greased and having a much nicer little beating heart in there. I've loaded it up with 12 elite darts, one of which is a suction for fun, I guess, and I would love to fire it and show that it is now getting modified hammer shot performance. Like, that's easily a 65-foot shot, so we're definitely pushing the elite ranges. Very, very pleased with how well this is performing. And then of course, like, who needs to reload when you have 12 shots? Holstering this would be a monster of a task. It's almost as thick as my leg, as crazy as that is. So my friend here has a chronograph, and even though I don't normally use these, I figured if it's here, why not? So error. Excellent. We're off to a good start, chronograph. 50. That's strange. Some of these elite darts are very worn and are not getting an excellent barrel fit. 80, 37, 57, 71. Chronographs are so accurate, man. That is very helpful information. So I guess all it's telling me is that these elite darts are beat, but the top end performance is solid. The ranges are very, very good, and when it does fire these darts, I wonder if it's a barrel compatibility issue or no. This is just very, very worn. So we won't even try to fire that, but that is my kind of steampunked, kind of diesel-punked out Lawbringer, and I still need a name for it, so if you can think of one, let me know in the comment section below. But I really like the clear paneling as it contrasts with the dry brushed gunmetal on black. I think that that looks cool. It's a comfortable blaster now. It no longer has a weird stock. There is in fact a kind of plate for you to choke up on. Even if you had smaller hands, you'd just be choking up higher, and then without that giant front end, it can corner well and maneuver like a sidearm should, so I could reach around a buddy and fire. I think that that is super duper cool. But that's the video. Hopefully you liked it. It was kind of a mod guide, kind of a full build video all in one, but this was not a complicated series of mods, and in all honesty, all you really need is a hacksaw. You don't need any power tools to do this one, so that's a really cool, like, Maverick style throwback in and of itself. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.